Okay, students, this is chapter 10. It's the pledge drive worksheet, and we're going to be importing some data and creating some pivot tables. If you're using Office 365, you're not going to be able to do the add-in for Pivot Report or Power View. Those are not available in Office 365, and that's what I'm using. So if you have Office 2016, follow the simulations to complete this exercise. And also, if you're using Office 2013, you will not have Power Pivot or Pivot Table or Power Pivot or Pivot Report. So I'm going to show you how to get around that, and then you're going to have to send me your spreadsheets for Chapter 10 if you're using one of those two versions so that I can grade the pivot tables for you. The first thing we have to do is to import a file, a CSV file. So we're going to get external data, and it's a text file, but we want to change it to CSV. So we need to go find the CSV file, which is called volunteer info, and we want to import it. It's delimited, and look at the data. You can notice that's delimited by commas. So instead of tab, we're going to be separating it by commas, and you can see that it separates it out correctly. We want this to be a general number, and when we finish, we want it to go to the existing worksheet. So now we have operator ID, last name, address, city, state, and zip. Now we want to use the text to columns separate values. Now we're going to change this to volunteer information. And we're going to use text to column to separate the fields city, state, and zip. So we want to highlight city, state, and zip, go to data, and select text to columns. The data is delimited again by commas. So take out tab and add commas. And now you can see that it's going to separate it by city, state, and zip. Now we're going to resize these columns to fit. We're copying the data range B2 to B7 so that we can get a proper formula in there, and there's other ways to do this, but this is the way it tells you to do it in the simulation. And then to clear out this data. Next, we're going to select the proper function on I2, and it changes it to upper and lower case, and then copy that down. Now we're to create a new worksheet and name it rewards. We want to create a connection to the rewards XML files. So we're going to get external data from other sources and from an XML data file. Go to where you stored your files and pick up the rewards XML file. We want to add this data to the, it won't let us add this data to the data model. Okay, so we just bring it in. Now the accounting number format, y'all know how to do all this. I'm not going to show you every step of the way here. Now I had already modified this file where it says sweatshirt, it said sweet shirt. It wanted you to open it in Notepad. So what I've done is change it back to sweet shirt, and I'm going to refresh the data. And now it's sweatshirt. So what it did is it went out and looked at the XML file that I had already edited, and it updated sweet to sweat. So those are the steps you're going to take. You're going to find the error in the XML file, change it, and then refresh the connections. Now, we don't have Power Pivot, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to first import the Access data file. And it's the one called, let's see, it's the one called pledge dollars. We want it into and we're going to have it imported as a table. We could do a pivot table report, but you've got to build the pivot table first into the existing worksheet. So now what we have are transactions. Now we're going to insert a pivot table. So this is in a pivot, with the pivot viewer, you can import the data directly to a pivot table instead of having to go through these two steps. But for Office 365 and Office 2013, we have to go through these two steps. So then we're going to insert a pivot table, and it's the entire range of data here. We want to put it in a new worksheet, and we want to add it to the data model. The next thing it tells us to do is to add the date field to the filters area, the operator ID to the rows area, and the pledge amount to the values area. So now we've done the exact same thing, only we had to do it in two steps instead of using the Power Pivot. Now we're going to use a Power Query to open the database contacts. So we go to Data and we select a new query, and it's going to be from a database, from Microsoft Excel database, and it's going to be contacts. Now it's connecting, and we want the table contacts. Before we load it, though, it wants us to remove the income independence field. So we're going to select Edit, connecting to the database. We want to delete, just select it and say Remove, and select Dependence and Remove. Now we can close it and load it. And it puts it in a new sheet. Now we want to create a Power View report, which is not available to us in Access 2013 or Office 365. So for those of you that are using 2016, go to the simulations and create from the Quick Access toolbar, create your Power View report. Then we have to create your reporter. So those of you that are using 2013 or Office 365, you're done now. You've got your pivot table. Be sure and call this pivot table. We had to do it in two steps because we don't have Power Pivot, but it's still the same. The outcome is the same. We look at the row and the sum of the pledge amount. We have our volunteer information, and we did our text to columns. The rewards, we updated our XML worksheet, our XML file, and refreshed our connections. We imported our transactions, created the pivot table, and then you imported in from a query the 4 fields in the contacts database. So that's what you'll be turning into me, and the rest of you need to submit it to the e-course.